Introducing the Mr. Good Media. Put in the effort. Go the distance. The lend a hand man with a plan. Your host for the evening, John Clay. Let us explore the vastness of the internet, looking for information on anything from complex situations to fun facts. Ladies and gentlemen, turn up your sound and dive with us down the rabbit hole.
And hello. Yeah, perfect timing to catch you in the middle of a sneeze, Sabrina. There we go. So, we're going to check a few things out today. I want to figure out if the YouTube chat will show up on our stream today. So, Sabrina, have you got the YouTube stream pulled up yet? You able to get that?
Yeah, it's up.
See if you can start typing. I'm going to start looking at things. So,
you don't have the TV on over here.
Oh, see, look at you. Bam. Is it on?
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, it's showing up from there. What about Twitter?
Give me a second.
You're gonna have to grab this and set this up. Bam. Look at that. It's like magic. Whoosh. Whoa. Everything went dark there for a little bit. Still learning, still growing. I've only done like 20 of these. Takes a while to get the process down. So, but that's going.
It's loading on Twitter.
Howdy. So that's me. I said howdy. I said hi to Sabrina, even though she's pretending to be me. She's covert ops over there. Not surprised. Yeah. I told her that we were going to be busy. You hear her?
Mm-hmm.
Little hellion. I gotta get this right. Why are you over there? It wants to play with emotions. Is it showing Google on the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. It was being funny. I don't know what was going on. Okay, cool. Yay! Everything's running smooth, so we don't have to figure out YouTube anymore. Got a few things I do want to work on. Yay! You don't seem so enthused. Oh, let's add a little light to me. Bam! Look at that.
I look really white.
How do you see yourself? Oh, you're watching the thing. Okay. So let's see. Pandemic preparation. Pandemic preparedness. So one of my things that I feel like we're not talking about here. Let me show you. You probably want to see this screen so you know what we're talking about. Bam. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. It looks like you can see that. Can you see that really well on your screen, Sabrina? Like the high, the howdy, the high?
Mm-hmm.
I just changed the size of that. Cool. So back to what I was talking about is one of the things I was thinking about in this whole thing is let's look when we knew COVID-19 was in China. When did COVID-19 start? So one of the things that I find kind of odd in this is, you talk about, I thought it was started in November. So let's look and see, let's get the actual timeline of what's going on here. And I want people to think about like how this works in regards to what they were telling us about COVID with the 2-week incubation period and everything. So starting off at the top, a summary. A pneumonia of unknown cause detected in Wuhan, China was first reported to the World Health Organization country office in China on December. Okay, so this all started on December 31st in China. Not November, what I'd said, but still gives us plenty of time in the timeline to cover everything. The outbreak was, the World Health Organization is working 24/7 to analyze data, provide advice, coordinate with partners, help countries prepare, increase supplies, and manage expert networks. The outbreak was declared a public emergency of international concern on the 30th day of January 2020. Okay, so the very end of 2020, or January. And then the international community asked for $675 million to protect states with weaker health systems as part of their strategic preparedness and response plan. Okay. On February 11th, 2020, World Health Organization announced a name for the new coronavirus disease, COVID-19. Okay. Now, mind you, if this had a 2-week incubation period, and we, the United States, didn't go into lockdown until March. Mind you, the way things spread, we would have just been overwhelmed if this was as contagious as we thought it was, and with the 2-week incubation period. Because another thing you want to look at is, how big is Wuhan?
Wuhan, China.
Yeah, how big is Wuhan, China? So, to my understanding, okay, it says 11.8 million
Population.
in the population, which, to my understanding, with the supporting provinces or surrounding areas, you're looking at around 60 million people, to my understanding. How big is Wuhan, China? And surrounding
Countries? Or cities?
Surrounding cities.
Don't mind me while I yawn.
What? Oh yeah.
Don't mind me while I yawn. Being incubator is a lot of work.
So it's the 9th most populous Chinese city, from what I just was reading. Pretty big when you look at the overall size of China.
Has some pretty structures.
For sure, yeah. I'm just trying to get an idea of this, but still, 11 million people. So you have 11 million people in this area, 2-week incubation period from when it was first contracted, and then traveling, verbatim with everybody. So you got to think 2 weeks. Everybody that you come into contact with in that area within a 2-week period, and then they contact somebody. So 2 weeks, it just seems like we would have been overrun with it globally before we even knew what was going on by the time you had any signs and symptoms. Okay, so, and let's see that. How long is COVID-19 incubation period? 2 to 14 days. So someone could go 14 days without ever seeing this and not even have an idea of that has even occurred. Stay at home until instructed to leave. Patients confirmed with COVID-19 should remain under home isolation until the risk of secondary transmission to others is thought to be low. Talk to your healthcare provider. The decision to continue home isolation precautions should be made on a case-by-case basis in consultation with healthcare providers and state and local departments. So
are they even giving people medicine for this?
they didn't really have anything. They don't have like an antiviral drug that you can take for this. It's really like a drug. Yes. So there's no antiviral drug for this, and to my, they're just addressing the symptoms as they can. Like the respiratory illness and the diarrhea and everything, from what I've heard. So they address the symptoms, but they can't actually do anything about it. It has to run its life cycle, and your body has to build up the antibodies to it, which, there is antibody testing for it nowadays, which I think is the primary thing that should be looked at is like why that should be made in mass as soon as possible to have a better understanding of how many people have been affected by this. All I'm saying is we were nowhere near prepared. If this all started at the beginning of 2020, literally like the day of, and we waited until March to go on lockdown, I mean, you're already talking to the end of April. There was no way. Everybody was just getting that left and right. And that was when the first cases reported in China. So you got to think, how long was this even going on in December for this to lead up to where like, oh crud, people are getting this virus that we don't even know anything about.
Yeah.
You know, I really feel like looking at all this data and how it was played out that this was overdone. I don't. So, what's pandemic? I don't think. I mean, I'd like to say we have preparation for this, but something like that, you don't. How do you prepare? If you got to think, if it was way worse, if this disease was actually killing people on that large a scale, you know, and let's look at that. I haven't actually seen the recent numbers. How many people have tested positive for coronavirus? Let's see, coronavirus in the U.S., latest map, case count. Total cases is 1,052,000 deaths. So
that's in the entire country?
Yes. So more than 50,000 people with the coronavirus have now died in the United States, according to a New York Times database, figure that is frequently increasing by more than 2,000 per day. So this, and it says updated April 28th. I mean, this is pretty current. 2:15 p.m. Eastern time, so that's 3:15. You know. Yeah. New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey. Got really, Houston's real bad.
Maryland.
I mean,
Chicago. A lot of like main areas where you fly into airports.
Travis County. So 121 people per every 10,000 have caught coronavirus. Man, I'm not even sure if I've met 100,000 people in my lifetime. So, yeah.
And then there's a big circle in LA too.
Yeah.
Of course. In Miami.
That's just crazy to think about.
It looks like the biggest is in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting
all of that surrounding area.
They're getting like 22,000 per person deaths. I think that's pretty interesting. I think it's
funny because like I hear a lot of people saying that Washington and Oregon are getting hit the worst, but if you look at the map, there are some blips, but not major ones like you see on the other side of the country.
Yeah, no, Northeast is definitely the worst. That's just, that whole area is just looking crazy. Those people do not know how to maintain their COVID. It's interesting. Colorado has a lot too.
Yeah. Oh wow, there's actually some blips in Hawaii and Alaska and Puerto Rico.
Yep. Okay. So, this is kind of how it's affecting us now at this point in time. So we've looked at, you know, what the actual, how the timeline's played out, where we're at now. How do you prepare for something like this? You know, I look at this and go, okay, what could I have done to get myself in place for something like this?
I mean, even the CDC, like I'm on the CDC website, and there's not much you could have done to prepare.
Exactly.
Because it's kind of like the flu, but they say it's stronger. So who knows? That whole month I was sick, I could have been.
Kind of want to see what global planning was for the CDC. Advanced planning and preparedness are critical to help reduce the impact of the pandemic. The World Health Organization guidance document outlines an all-hazard and emergency risk management approach to pandemic influenza risk management. The guidance takes into account the lessons learned from the influenza A H1N1 2009 pandemic in order to create a pandemic influenza planning framework that would allow public health response efforts to be adapted for a more moderate event. World Health Organization will use the global phases of a pandemic, interpandemic, alert pandemic, and transition to describe the spread of novel influenza, a virus different countries will face, different pandemic phases at different times. The WHO guidance introduces a risk-based approach that would allow public health officials to develop flexible plans on a national risk assessment while taking into consideration the WHO Global Risk Assessment. To see how the WHO phases map the phases map to the CDC phases, see the table of MMWR. Nope. I don't know what MMWR is. Interpandemic phase, alert phase, pandemic phase, transition phase, interpandemic phase again.
So what does interpandemic phase mean? So we're gonna recover and then we're gonna go back into we need to prepare?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, you gotta think that different in different circumstances. There's like we just had a pandemic apparently in 2009, right? So the H1N1. So if you have the H1N1 pandemic, we dealt with the rise, the most people getting affected by it, and then we start recovering from that, and then we go back to preparing for another pandemic. My issue is if this was as bad as they said it was, it seems like we were very ill prepared as far as having the infrastructure to address such a global concern here in the United States, because we needed medication and we needed testing to be done sooner if this was such a big deal, and it didn't get addressed. I feel like it got overhyped, and because it got overhyped, we had all these things occur, and
food shortages and all that.
Yeah, that was just more the media than it was anything. I mean, like I said, if you look at the timeline of how these things are supposed to play out, you saw 2 to 14 days. This started back in December. We didn't close down until the beginning of March. That's 2.5 months for a virus that can be incubated in your body for 2 to 14 days without noticing, plus everybody coming in contact with each other. There's just no way for us to prepare for this appropriately. So if we're not prepared for it appropriately, like we were, and this was so bad, then we would have been SOL. I don't know, how do you even say that we were in the right position for something like that? Because there was a shortage of everything, and we didn't have the medications we needed.
And, I mean, at one point, even in December, there was shortages of the flu vaccine and everything. So everybody that was trying to get that in order to help with their immunity to the flu was shortage on that medicine.
I agree with you, and again, I would just say that I don't think that we need to look, if we're trying to ever prepare for something.
Look up, maybe like the timeline on their what they're working on to cure it. Sorry, I was trying to figure out the word.
To cure it?
Yeah, okay. They say that they're working on a cure for it, a vaccine. So what is their timeline looking at it? Oh. Are we gonna figure out a cure before the next freak out?
Says they're working fast to do it. Okay, Calculate your stimulus payment.
COVID projected timeline. Treatment and prevention.
So that's kind of what they have right now. Repurposed drugs. So it looks like they're using something for Ebola, HIV, and malaria. I'm having a hard time. Give me a second.
I was gonna say, I was gonna have a hard time reading all that tiny. Ebola, HIV, and malaria. So they're combining.
I guess.
Because
It's
similar to majority of those.
So it's supposed to work to stop replication or block the virus, is what it's saying there. Then you look at antibodies. Critical to treat the season's COVID-19 Y-shaped proteins that stick to the virus, SARS-CoV-2. These can be manufactured through recombinant technology and injected into patients to prevent or reduce infection. From recovered patients, animal-produced, bioengineered from previous viruses. Mass production. So they've been looking at doing this phase. There are 66 programs working on 3 different approaches. So 7 programs for repurposed drugs, 16 for antibodies, 43 for the vaccines.
So and they even have 2 phases of the actual vaccine.
Yeah, phase 1 and phase 2. And if you look,
and it looks like it goes out to at least to phase 3, but then they're talking about going into whole next year.
Yep. For that. Crazy. So then these are talking about the trials and purposing existing drugs and things like that, seeing what they can use. And there's like, normally this would be a 5-year program. So they're doing it.
They're trying to do a 5-year program in
2 months.
In 2 months.
Mm-hmm. And that's for the antibody programs. Crazy times. Okay. Well, we've looked at some things in regards to COVID-19. I think we've gotten pretty far. Let's go to On This Day. I don't want. It's giving me too much. What's today? The 28th? April 28th. What's going on in this day? Let's go to highlights. Okay. Highlights of April 28th happen to be establishment of the Pontifical Royal University of Santo Tomas, the Catholic University of the Philippines, oldest existing university in Asia and largest Catholic university in the world. So, the Catholics were harassing Philippine boys back in 1611. Sorry. Oops. Sorry for anybody that's Catholics that ever sees this. My bad. You know it's true. British Captain James Cook aboard the Endeavour lands at Botany Bay in Australia. Okay. So, that's when the English started taking the white prison people over there and leave them over there. That's why they're so feisty in Australia. And then 1789, Fletcher Christian leads a mutiny on the HMS Bounty against a Captain William Blighth in the South Pacific. Things got interesting in 1789 in the South Pacific there.
2008, a rarely found colossal squid 34 feet long and weighing half-ton squid is being dissected to help understand a little bit more about a rare animal that lives largely in the cold Antarctic waters in New Zealand.
So they found a giant squid in 2008 and started dissecting it?
Yes.
Okay.
The squid is believed to grow up to 50 feet long, a similar length to the sperm whale. They're believed to tussle within depths of the ocean.
Can you imagine something the size of a sperm whale with those tentacles? I mean, okay, so let's see. See, this is why I love Google, right? The sperm whale is fairly large from what I understand. That's some like stuff out of like Godzilla right there. Sperm whale. They weigh up to 130,000 pounds.
They're 40 feet long.
40 foot. Can you imagine the kind of hentai porn that you would get with
Let's not talk about that.
With a 40-foot tentacle? I'm just saying.
Their lifespan is like 60 to 70 years.
These things were over it said over like near Antarctica, right?
So they're saying that this squid and the sperm whale could tussle in the ocean. So who do you think would win against them?
Oh man, I'm gonna say this. My money's probably on the squid.
Why? Because of the tentacles?
Yeah, you gotta think like all those appendages. Ta 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 ta. Like.
But the whale looks like he has a pretty big mouth.
So is he gonna bite him?
Maybe. Bite off his tentacles.
Okay, so that's the same thing if you look at if you look at a cat and a dog, right? A cat has claws. Dogs.
A cat has 9 lives.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that shit. I swear. You're at your ever
Tell
level.
us what y'all think. Sperm whale or squid?
Okay, so I need to put that in the questions or comments. So please, let us sperm whale or squid.
Which one would win in a tussle? And it's not a small squid, remember. It's
the same size.
Enormous squid that they said they found in New Zealand. It's a rare find. They haven't came up with a name for it.
And it could it could fight.
It could grow up to 50 feet, which is still longer than the whale.
Exactly. So see, that's where I'm all about the squid. I straight up, I feel like they have the use of more appendages. You're telling me it's longer. My money's on the squid. Straight up. I mean, that's a lot of mass, though. 100.
Look inside the whale's mouth. I want to see these whales' teeth.
They don't have teeth. Sperm whale.
Inside the mouth.
Okay, does a sperm whale have teeth? I don't think they do. Maybe.
Has 18 to 26 teeth on each side of its lower jaw, which fit into sockets in the upper jaw. The teeth are cone-shaped. See, look at that mouth. That's a gnarly mouth.
I guess.
They can bite on its tentacles.
I guess. Do look at those teeth, but my money's okay. What kind of squid was this?
They didn't have a name for it. They just said it was in New Zealand.
Okay, so I got a
ginormous squid.
Giant squid.
See, it even says giant squid versus sperm whale. Jeez, that's huge.
Well, that one's small, but look at that one. Look at that. Look at all the people behind that.
Oh man.
I don't know,
That's
man.
only 14 foot. That's not. Thin.
Yeah, so imagine that, and look how big that is at 14 foot, right? Like, that's not even the 50 foot.
So I wonder how fast a squid is compared to a whale.
I don't know. I'm not seeing the. But still, my money's straight up on the squid. Look at all these appendages here. And they just wrap. Like all it has to do is wrap. Grappling extraordinaire, like water grappling. Straight up. What is that squid gonna do? Headbutt you and try to bite you? Like, and it doesn't even have when you start looking at the mass of the squid and everything. What's it gonna bite? Like, how is it gonna get around you? That squid is gonna take its tentacle and tie your mouth shut. That's what it's gonna do. Straight up, money's on the squid all day long. Giant squid wins. I don't even think there's a comparison here. You would have to blindside the squid to do that. Okay, so That's enough. Let us know if you think the squid or the sperm whale wins. My money's on the squid, straight up.
I don't know.
Whatever. Okay. First night air flight by Claude Graham White in England in 1910. That's pretty cool. Flying at night, looking at the squares.
If you want to go into sports, in 2003, Andre Agassi recaptures the world #1 ranking to become the oldest top-ranked male in history of the ATP rankings. What does that mean? What is ATP rankings?
You brought this up and you don't even know. You got all excited.
It's reading right there. It's on your screen.
Okay, but you brought attention to it. I wasn't even there. Like, who even knows what that is? You know what that is? What's an ATP rankings? Okay, Google. Because it didn't even have a link.
Hey, you brought up sports last time. So.
I would have if to a sport I know, tennis.
Oh.
So,
Not a big person in tennis.
Even my wife's like, oh, tennis. Is that even really a sport? No.
It is a sport.
We know it's a sport.
It probably takes a lot of training and endurance and all that.
Reflexes back and forth.
If I felt like I feel as comfortable to do it, then I would do it. But I'm probably not as fast as a lot of those people. Especially right now.
So what does ATP stand for? I keep getting ATP rankings here. Go to Wikipedia.
Well, that's what I'm guessing. It's just the ranking system.
Association of Tennis Professionals. There we go. So there we got that. So the guy became the oldest tennis guy. #1 ranking.
3 years and 13 days.
Bam. So, old man plays tennis really well. That's what we learned here. April 28, 2003. Okay, Barbara Streisand stars My Name is Barbara special on CBS. That was a long time ago. Glenn Miller records Pennsylvania 6. I don't even know what that is. Okay. We had some flights. They're advertising some Star Trek. I like Star Trek. That's cool. So, let's go to one of my favorite parts of the day. Bam! We talk about us. I like talking about me. I feel like I'm awfully special.
You should pop that bubble.
Pop that bubble? That's not very nice. How dare you pop my bubble? I'll pop your bubble. Okay, so what do? Well, we do personal training. We have customized apparel. Of course, we have a podcast, as you can tell. We do health and wellness seminars, community improvement projects, trying to help seniors and people in recovery. I'll have my yoga instructor certification here in June. We'll see how this all plays out. COVID-19 has made some things really interesting in my life, so I hope this plays out really, really well.
Made life difficult.
For sure. So, again, if you have any questions, concerns, you'd like to talk to us, reach out to us on social media. We'd love to talk to you. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.